So today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 13, Dhritarashtra Krit's home, text number 26. 27, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ya Svakat Parata Va Iha Jato Nirveda Atmavan Hridi Kritva Harim Gehat Pravajet Sa Nara Uttama Yasvakat Padato Veha Jata Nirveda Atmavan Shridi Kritva Harim Gehat Prabhajat Sa Narottama Yasvakat Padato Veha Jata Nirveda Atmavan Shridi Kritva Harim Gehat Prabhajat Sa Narottama. Anyone who Svakat, by his own awakening, Padata Va, or by hearing from another, Iha, here in this world, Jata, becomes Nirveda, indifferent to material attachment, Atmavan, consciousness, Hridi, within the heart, Kritva, having been taken by, Harim, the personality of Godhead, Gehat, from home, Pravajet, goes away, Sa, he is, Nara Uttama, the first class human being. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. He is certainly a first class man who awakens and understands, either by himself or from others, the falsity and misery of this material world, and thus leaves home and depends fully on the personality of Godhead residing within his heart. Purport. There are three classes of transcendentalists, namely, 1, the Dhira, or the one who is not disturbed by being away from family association. 2, one in the renounced order of life, a sannyasi by frustrated sentiment. And 3, a sincere devotee of the Lord who awakens God consciousness by hearing and chanting and leaves home depending completely on the personality of Godhead who resides in his heart. The idea is that the renounced order of life, after a frustrated life of sentiment in the material world, may be a stepping stone on the path of self-realization, but, and this is in italics, this emphasized by Prabhupada, but real perfection of the path of liberation is attained when one is practiced to fully depend on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who lives in everyone's heart as Paramatma. One may live in the darkest jungle alone out of home, but a steadfast devotee knows very well that he is not alone. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is with him, and he can protect his sincere devotee in any awkward circumstance. One should therefore practice devotional service at home, hearing and chanting the holy name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, etc., in association with pure devotees. And this practice will help one awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose. One who desires material benefit by such devotional activities can never depend on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he sits in everyone's heart. Nor does the Lord give any direction to persons who worship him for material gain. Such materialistic devotees may be blessed by the Lord with material benefits, but they cannot reach the stage of a first-class human being, as above mentioned. There are many examples of such sincere devotees in the history of the world, especially in India, and they are our guides on the path of self-realization. Mahatma Madhura is one such great devotee of the Lord, and we should all try to follow in his lotus footsteps for self-realization. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatanvitam Tam Sujivam Sadaitam Savadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. So, there are many, many powerful, powerful points given by Srila Prabhupada for our enlightenment. We will discuss a few of them. One point is that Prabhupada says that one should practice, by practicing devotional service, hearing and chanting, etc., one awakens one's God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose. That's a very telling statement by Srila Prabhupada. Your degree of awakening and your degree of sincerity, they are parallel to each other. If you're 10% sincere, you get 10% awakening. If you're 50%, 50%, 90%, 90%, 100%, 100%. So all we really have to do is strive for sincerity. Don't be a rascal, basically. Don't be a rascal. Just be sincere about surrendering to the Lord. And that sincerity obviously takes time to fine-tune, otherwise we'd be fully awakened right now, isn't it? That sincerity requires fine-tuning, it requires polishing, it requires refining. Because we have sincerity, otherwise why we're here, we're not being paid to chant Hare Krishna. We obviously have some sincerity. But because we're not fully awakened yet, that means our sincerity is not yet perfect. In other words, we have a sincere desire to become Krishna conscious, but we're still thinking we can enjoy this material world. You see, that is our lack of sincerity. We still have this mixture. It's called karma mishra bhakti, mixed bhakti. We're holding on to this idea, oh yes, I can enjoy this material world. We may not say it, but within our heart, we're still feeling we can enjoy this material world. So that is a imperfection in our sincerity. You see? We have to weed it out. We have to weed it out. We have to really dig deep into the heart and see the dirt, the anartha, the lust, the anger, the greed, the madness, the illusion, the envy. I mean, it's sitting there, it's a fact. It is sitting there in our hearts, these contaminations. By sincere devotional service, they can all be burned away. Just like Prabhupada told me one time, he said, if you're engaged 24 hours a day in the service of the Lord with full sincerity of attitude, Prabhupada told me. No, he said full sincerity, not mixed sincerity. He said with full sincerity of attitude, then Krishna will personally come and answer all of your questions. That's when you're really sincere. You know your sincerity has become perfect when Krishna reveals himself to you. He actually personally comes and you can talk to him and ask him questions. He answers your questions. That's a very high level, but Prabhupada told me about that level. It's a great inspiration to think that you can actually reach that stage where Krishna will personally come to you and answer all of your questions. Whatever question you have about how to perfect yourself in Krishna consciousness, how to spread this movement, how to make the world Krishna conscious, Krishna will come and answer all of your questions. With full sincerity, you see. That's when we reach the level of full sincerity. And not partial sincerity, but full sincerity. I remember, I've explained previously, but I was in New Zealand, in Auckland. I was giving a class and this Mataji came up, she said, well, my problem is I'm not sincere. That's my difficulty. So I asked her, well, did you sincerely say that to me? Are you speaking sincerely when you just said that? She is very smart, Mataji. She said, not sincere enough. So we have some sincerity. You can't say we have no sincerity. That's not true. But the fact is that she confirmed we're not sincere enough, you see. That sincerity right now is partial sincerity. It's not full. That's why we don't see Krishna face to face. Because sincerity is only partial right now. So we have to then see how every day I can become more sincere. So how do you do that? Well, there's so many nice prayers of Rupa Goswami and given in Prabhupada's books that helps one become more sincere. Kamadinam katina katipatadina nudadeshas tesham jatamayi na karana na zabhano pashanti utrajaitan natayapatate sam utrajaitan yadupate utrajaitan yadupate sampratam labda buddhas tammayata sharanang ambayamang niyungshvatma dashe. O my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I've served them faithfully, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. O my Lord, head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has awakened, and now I am giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, now I refuse to obey the order of these lusty desires. So now I come to you and surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your devotional service and save me. Isn't that a beautiful prayer, Rupa Goswami? So if we take these prayers of the great acharyas, which are there in the Nectar Devotion and Prabhupada's books, and we repeat them, we put ourselves in that mood. Take that and pray sincerely. The Sikshastakam prayers, you see, so many prayers are there. We take these prayers and we embrace the prayers deep within our psyches and we say them with feeling. We try to fully enter into that mood. This will help our sincerity a lot. Another one, na prema shravanadi bhaktir apiva yogatava vaishnava jnanam va shubha karma va kiyadaho satsjatirapyasti va hinnaratadikasataketvai tatapyasheja malasati hey gopi jana balava vyatayate haha madashaivamam. Oh my Lord, I have no love for you. Na prema, I have no love, you see. Shravanadi means hearing, and Shravana is hearing, and Adi means hearing, etc. You see. Na prema Shravanadi, you see. I have no prema, I have no qualification to hear and chant about you, you see. I don't possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava. That's a nice statement. You know, Vaishnavas have mystic power. You know, we hear about some yogis, you know, who have mystic power, but actually a Vaishnava has more mystic power than the yogis. They don't generally show those mystic powers, but Vaishnava actually has more mystic power than the mystic yogis. A pure devotee is full of all mystic powers. So he says, I have no love, I have no qualification for hearing and chanting. I don't possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge, or pious activities, nor have I even born in a decent family. If you examine me, you will see actually I'm completely bereft of any qualification to engage in devotional service. But my dear Lord, Gopi Jana Ballabha, most beloved maintainer of the gopis, because you are very, very merciful upon the fallen souls, I have this unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart, that somehow or other, by your mercy, I may attain your divine lotus feet. But, my Lord, this hope gives me pain because I see how absolutely, totally unqualified I am. So these sort of prayers, if you pray them sincerely, put yourself in that mood of calling out to the Lord from the most humble possible of all positions you could be in, that will strengthen the sincerity. You see, here in ISKCON we have a wonderful society, but becoming advanced doesn't just mean being well respected in the movement. There's many well respected devotees who are gone. They were very well respected, most highly respected devotees. They're gone. So, simultaneously, while we're developing good relationships, becoming respected, in which we should strive to give respect, and that will naturally earn us respect as well. If you want to be respected in this movement, all you have to do is respect everybody, and you'll become very, very well respected automatically. Just learn how to respect everyone in this movement, and you'll become very well respected automatically without any endeavor. It'll happen automatically. But that is not good enough. Simply be a well-respected man around ISKCON, or a woman around ISKCON. One has to develop that mood of complete, total submission to the Lord and the Lord's representative, the spiritual master. One has to do that, you see. That's full sincerity. Full sincerity. So that's just one point, and there's so many points. It's amazing. Just one little point from one sentence. We practically could write a whole book just on one point from one sentence, and there's so many points in so many sentences. This is the depth of realization of the pure devotee, you see. Every word is pregnant with unlimited meaning. This is the potency of the pure devotee. Let's look at the italicized phrase from this purport. Real perfection on the path of liberation is attained when one is practiced to depend fully on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Think about it. That's a very deep statement. Just like we were feeling somewhat comfortable. We have our house. We have all the paraphernalia. We know where this is. We know where that is. Everything's all arranged. The air conditioning, the water, all the furniture, where this place is, that place is, the washing machine. You may feel some comfort having all the arrangements made, you see. So Krishna gave us very special mercy. He evicted us, at least temporarily, from that temple building. So we have to realize, actually, our only real shelter is Krishna, not that house. That house isn't our shelter, you see. Krishna is our only shelter. So we have to remember, in all circumstances, to depend fully on Krishna and nothing else. We have no other dependency. Our only dependency is on Krishna. And if we feel that dependency, that my only shelter is Krishna, I don't need any other. Actually, there is no other shelter. If I think there's any shelter besides Krishna, I'm dreaming. I'm just dreaming. It's simply an illusion. My Sankirtan van, my brahmachari paraphernalia, whatever I may be thinking might give me some kind of a meaning or a shelter to my existence. You see, it's just a dream. We only have one shelter, and that's Krishna, and nothing else. Another nice point here. Krishna does not give any direction to persons who worship him for material gain. I remember one time our GBC man came back from being Prabhupada's personal secretary, and he came back with a nice realization. If one desires followers, for example, yes, I want followers, you see, he may get his followers, but he won't get Krishna. This is a very nice point. Our Balavanta, he was our GBC, Balavanta Prabhu. He's still practicing Krishna consciousness. He's an attorney now. He's still a nice devotee in our Lachma community. And he gave this very nice realization. If you desire followers, you may get your followers, but you won't get Krishna. So the point is, don't desire anything except for Krishna. In Krishna's service, you can accept unlimited followers, unlimited wealth, so many things you can accept, whatever is necessary for Krishna's service. That's all right. But our only desire is Krishna's service and nothing else. Because if you have any other desire, you may get that thing. But you won't get Krishna. Krishna won't reveal himself to you. He won't talk to you. He'll keep you at a distance out there in the material energy somewhere. You see. You won't get Krishna's personal Sangha. One who becomes a pure devotee, who only desires Krishna, nothing but Krishna, they will get the personal association of Krishna 24 hours a day. They'll be personally in contact with Krishna at every minute, like Prabhupada. You see, that's available for us. It's not only in the books, only for the great people in the books. You can become one of the great people, like in these books. You see. If you follow the instructions that Prabhupada is giving you, you take very seriously every word that Prabhupada is speaking, you will also become a pure devotee and Krishna will reveal himself to you. So I can ask now if there's any questions. Yeah.
Srila Gurudev, you said that italicized phrase said one can, it says that one should, by practicing, becoming fully dependent on Krishna. There's a practice. So what is that practice?
That's called sadhana bhakti, devotional service in practice. So even though I don't feel like doing something in Krishna's service, I do it on the order of my spiritual master. I do it in the order of my Sankirtan leader, you see. I don't feel like it. It's not, I don't feel that, always feel spontaneously to do things. Just like, but I do it, you see. Just like that example, Shat Krishna nama charitari tatapya vidya, pato patapta rasanasha narochikanu, kintvadaranadidang kalu saiva jushta svadvi karmad bhavati tadgadamula hantri, described in the Upadeshamrita. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Lord Sri Krishna are transcendently sweet, just like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one who is afflicted with the jaundice of avidya or ignorance does not taste anything sweet, if one carefully, actually the word carefully is used by Prabhupada, if one carefully chants these sweet names every day, this is practice, if one carefully chants these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. That's what practice means. I don't feel like chanting. It's like, I have no taste. It's actually bitter. I just want to go to sleep. I got to chant these rounds. I just want to eat, but I have to do this. I want to do this, but I have to chant these rounds. Ugh. Sometimes it feels bitter, you see, for a neophyte devotee. I don't feel like doing this. I just want to sleep, space out, talk some Pajalpa with the Prabhus. No. Take the medicine, dutifully. Chant as early as possible every day, and the earlier the better. I like to get up and chant my rounds before Mangalarti. You see, the earlier the better, because there's less activity. Once the day gets rolling, all this doing here, going here, doing this, doing that, telephone's ringing, I have to call this place, I have to go here, so many activities. The early morning is the time for the meditative mode, you see. So the more you can chant your 16 rounds plus in the early morning, the better. So practice chanting your rounds early in the morning as far as possible. By that practice, careful practice, and then your disease is destroyed at the root, and you'll develop a natural taste for engaging in the activities of Krishna consciousness. It especially refers to chanting and taking prasadam. The process, the basic practice, all hinges on chanting Hare Krishna and taking prasadam. You see? And of course there's so many other activities, but the basis, the foundation, is chanting Hare Krishna and taking prasadam. So if one will give up eating unoffered food and give up talking nonsense and just chant Hare Krishna and to talk about Krishna, that practice then will enable one to become more and more dependent on Krishna. Okay? Any other questions?
Sometimes I can get up very early, about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, but sometimes I go sleep at that time. How to get out of that?
Well, because of your job, yeah. You just have to do the best you can. Sometimes we do have to make an adjustment because of emergency situations, you know. Sometimes, things come up and they're unavoidable. You just have to, just like I had to, when I was in the hotel in London, the phone was ringing in the middle of the night. I think this is just messing up my sadhana. Must be a wrong number. I just kept turning it off. The phone kept ringing. I kept turning it off, turning it off, turning it off. I don't want to mess up my sadhana. But I found that, it was kind of like half awake. But finally I realized, wait a minute. It must be an emergency. I better answer this phone. Sure enough, the house had burned. Like at 1 o'clock in the morning, I got the message the house had burned. It was 1:30, something like that. So, and then I had to deal with that in the middle of the night, even though I was messing up my sadhana. Sometimes you have to, deal with emergencies that they come up. But then as soon as possible, you get back to your routine. That's all you can do. Stick to your routine. Don't fanatically stick to your routine, because Prabhupada says, do the needful. Like you're chanting your rounds and somebody falls down and injures themselves. And you say, well, I got to finish my round, They just lay them on the floor and bleed. I'll call 911 after I finish my japa. You know what I mean? I mean, you have to do the needful. But then, see, the problem is not, our problem is not the needful. Our problem is we waste our time with sense gratification. That's the problem. Emergencies that come up, that's not the difficulty. The difficulty is our desire for sense gratification. If an emergency comes up and it disturbs your sadhana, that's okay. That won't mess up your sadhana. But if you indulge in sense gratification, overeating, oversleeping, talking prajalpa, wasting your time, that will mess up your sadhana. But emergencies won't. Answering emergencies will never, even though you have to adjust your sadhana, it won't mess up your sadhana. But indulging in sense gratification will mess up your sadhana. Unnecessarily breaking your sadhana for sense gratification will definitely mess up your sadhana. Not answering emergency situation. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
You said it hinges on chanting and taking only prasadam. What would be the best standard of prasadam if there are different standards?
The very best standard? Nothing cooked by karmis. Just like Maharaji and I, we fly all over the world. Take about 60 flights a year on the airplane. And we never eat the airplane food. I never take the airplane food, never. We might take something that's uncooked, like grapes. Uncooked and uncut. We'll take grapes. If they have grapes, we'll accept the grape. You can offer the grapes. We bring our own prasadam. Mataji makes very nice, she has very good techniques for making prasadam that we can take on the road. She has very good techniques. Pocket sandwiches with chapati and sabji on the inside. Very good techniques. So one should avoid eating food cooked by karmis and only take food prepared by devotees. That's the standard. Because you eat food cooked by karmis, it's a contamination. It may be very tasty. Like some devotees go to a restaurant. Well, it's a vegetarian restaurant, but it's food cooked by non-devotees. You get their consciousness. You eat, you ingest the consciousness of the cook. So therefore, don't eat a devotee restaurant, it's fine, but don't go to a karmi restaurant. You can buy some yogurt. That's all right. Some yogurt, some fruit, some nuts if you're traveling, and get by, you know. But buying bread or something like that is not good. Tortillas, cooked by karmis, no. Okay? Is that clarified for you?
I've heard of don't eat grains cooked by karmis and things, but you mentioned cut grapes. What, like fruit cut by karmis even?
Well, on the airplane, we don't take the cut fruits because they may have cut meat with the same knife. That's fine. We don't take the cut fruits. As a whole fruit, we'll take it on the airplane, but not a cut fruit. See, you can bring your own fruits on the airplane. We brought we had some lychee fruits. We bought a whole bunch of lychees. I popping lychees on the airplane. Lychee is a very nice fruit. You peel it and it's very nice. It's like a little gulab jamun. So you can have very nice, if you plan it nicely, you can eat much better. Everybody will be envious of you. Oh, look what they have over there. They're getting better than the airplane food. Actually, sometimes we share our prasadam with the flight attendant. They're very happy. We found out the flight attendants don't get to order their own meals. They get to take what's left over from everybody else. Somebody doesn't, even the captain, we have one of my students is He's a pilot for Singapore Airlines. He cannot order his own meals. He's a vegetarian, of course. Now, in his situation, we tell him it's okay to take the airplane food because he has to go out for many days. He can't pack his prasadam. I authorized him to take the airplane food if he gets vegetarian food. Because if there's an extenuating circumstance, then you can do it. His circumstance is extenuating. He has to go away from days at a time, and it's difficult for him. I mean, that's his full-time job. He's a pilot. He's always flying here and there. So I authorized him to do it. And if there's, Prabhupada does mention in the Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, if you're in a situation where there's no alternative, he says one can take in the hotel, that means restaurant. If one is in a situation where there's no option, you can take restaurant food. It's okay if there's no option. It happened to Mataji and myself one time. We went to Dwarka and and we were staying in the ISKCON temple. We actually paid some money to get a room there in the temple, ISKCON temple. But it was a strange thing. They didn't feed us. They wouldn't feed us anything. We were a little surprised, but so we had no way to eat. We were in Dwarka. There was no ISKCON temple. The temple wouldn't, besides that one, and they wouldn't feed us. They wouldn't give us any prasadam. So we had to go to a restaurant and order some vegetarian food. It was a miserable experience. They were staring at us because, here I am, a Westerner, and I look a little different. We were like quite a sensation for them, in Dwarka, see a Westerner. So they were standing there trying to eat. We offered the prayer, we were eating, and they were staring at us, It's a very awkward situation. But one can, if a necessity, if there's an urgent necessity, one can take foods cooked by non-devotees. She had to. But Mataji and I don't do it. It's not. If you plan it well, you won't have to. And we don't. It's always better not to do that. So does that help a little bit? Okay. Anything else? Everyone satisfied now? Ready to revolutionize your consciousness and revolutionize the world for Prabhupada? Huh? Are you ready to revolutionize your heart and revolutionize the world for Prabhupada?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Very good. Are you ready? Very good. Yeah?
You always say chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Huh?
Chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Yeah.
Always say. So, but I feel that not always I am happy.
You're disobeying Prabhupada.
How to be?
Stop your nonsense. You're a rascal. If you're not happy, you're disobeying Prabhupada's order. You're a rascal. So stop being a rascal, you rascal. You unhappy rascal. You have to be a happy sadhu. Don't be an unhappy rascal. Your unhappiness is rascaldom. Stop being unhappy. Always be happy. That's Prabhupada's order. You must obey Prabhupada's order. Okay?
But how to...
By submission. It's your pride, your false pride, because you refuse to surrender to Prabhupada. That's why you're unhappy. Kick out your false ego, rascal. Kick it out. Say, get out, kick it with boot. Okay, Mr. Ahankar, now I kick you out with boot. You see what I'm saying? If you're not happy, you're disobeying Prabhupada. He ordered to be happy. So stop being such a rascal, puffed up rascal. Take Prabhupada's orders, your life and soul. I must always be happy to please Prabhupada. Prabhupada told me, right after I got initiated, he wrote me a letter. He said, you heard it before, but he said, I can see that you're a very sincere, enthusiastic boy who is eager for spreading this Krishna consciousness movement. He said, now just continue enthusiastically as you're doing, and surely Krishna will bless you. So Prabhupada ordered me to always be enthusiastic. So I just have to do that. Whether I feel like it or not, I have to always be enthusiastic. Well, I don't feel like being enthusiastic. Who cares whether I feel like it being enthusiastic or not? I have to be enthusiastic because Prabhupada's ordered. That's all. So whether you feel happy or not, you have to be happy because it's the order of Prabhupada. And as soon as you accept his order, immediately become happy. But if you get on the mental platform, well, how can I be happy when I'm not happy? Then you'll never be happy. Kick out the mental platform. Prabhupada ordered you to be happy, so do it. Be submissive. And immediately you feel unlimited happiness. What is the difficulty? Is there any difficulty? Huh? Is there any difficulty? That's right. There is no difficulty. We imagine difficulties. The mind is the difficulty. Therefore, you have to become very expert at ignoring your rascal mind. Stop listening to your mind. You listen to Guru and Krishna. Don't listen to your mind anymore. Your problem is you're listening to your mind. You see, if one who is advanced in Krishna consciousness, they can be in a lonely place and make spiritual advancement just by associating with their own mind. You understand? You have to make your mind your friend, and then you'll have good company, good association. Right now your mind is your enemy, and that's why you're unhappy and lonely sometimes. You have to make your mind your friend, and then you'll always be happy because you have a nice association. The mind will become a first-class companion for you on your trip back to Godhead. You just have to train up that rascal, how to be a bhakta. My dear mind, now you are joining the bhakta program. You see? So make your mind a good bhakta, and then you'll have fantastic association for the rest of your life. It's not difficult. You just have to keep fixing the mind in Krishna consciousness. By reading, by chanting, by memorizing verses, really helps a lot. If you're alone with nothing to do, give yourself a sloka list. Give yourself 108 verses that you like to have in your repertoire. And learn those 108 verses. Or you can learn the Brahma Samhita, the Govinda prayers, Sanskrit and English and Latvian. You see? It's so nice thing. Memorize all the Govinda prayers, Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vrateshu shurabhira vipalayantam lakshmi sahasra shatasambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham namaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who was tending the cows in abodes built with spiritual gems, always surrounded by millions of purpose trees, and served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. So if you have nothing to do, learn all the Govinda prayers, Sanskrit, English, and Latvian. You see? And that way your mind won't have any time to get miserable. You see, you become miserable when your mind is idle. There's nothing for your mind to do. That's when you get miserable. Keep your mind always engaged. Keep your mind always engaged. Never give it a minute to slip away and do nonsense. Keep your mind always engaged, and then you'll always be the most blissful person in all the three worlds. It's not difficult. You just have to work. Just like someone who's training a tiger, they better train that rascal well, otherwise they'll eat the trainer, isn't it? So your mind is a tiger. You got to train your mind well, otherwise it'll eat you. You don't be eaten by your mind, do you? So you'll be a really good trainer. Show that mind who's the boss, Okay? Anything else? Yeah.
Gurudev, sometimes I met persons who said you you can't really make it. You can only fake, because
What is it? Doesn't somebody
really
say you
make
can't
it.
make it, fake it?
you're only no. You
Huh?
you won't make it. You'll only be a faker. On Sankarshan, sometimes I meet people like this.
What do they say?
They say you're only faking. You can never become a sadhu, a happy sadhu, because you're a Westerner. They say that.
The Indians say?
No, both say. Everyone says.
Well, wait a minute. My dear sir, you're an illusion. You're seeing on the bodily platform, I am not a Westerner. That's complete total rubbish. I am not a Westerner. I am not an Easterner. I am beyond East and West. I'm the eternal spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. I have nothing to do with East or West. What is this nonsense, baloney that I'm a Westerner? It shows you're completely in material platform. You don't know what you're talking about. You're an illusion, sir. You think I'm a Westerner. You're in complete, total illusion. And besides that, there was a sadhu from the Western countries who came to hear Maharaj Parikshit being enlightened by Shukadeva Goswami. Do you know that? You haven't read your Bhāgavatam very well. You go back and read your Bhāgavatam. There was a sadhu who came from Europe. Yes, a sadhu came from Europe to hear that conversation. Anything else? Better read your Bhāgavatam again. Go back and read your Bhāgavatam again. So many things you've missed. You have to read more. Every chance you get, read. You should always be reading 24 hours a day and always be serving 24 hours a day, Prabhupada said.
The problem is that the devotees themselves see
Huh?
because the problem is that the devotees themselves see themselves as I am white, I am Indian.
That means they're the Kanishta Adhikaris. They're called materialistic devotees. If someone thinks, "Oh, I'm a woman, or I'm a man, or I'm an Indian, or I'm an American," they're not. They're called Kanishta Adhikaris, devotees on the material platform. They're still on the material plane. So everyone should at least become Madhyam Adhikaris as soon as possible. You see, and then from there you can gradually become an Uttama Adhikari. Don't identify. Just like Jadharani, she said, "Prabhupada, is it true that women are less intelligent?" Prabhupada said, "If you think you're a woman." And there's a woman who realized I'm not a woman, she's not less intelligent at all. She's the most intelligent person, you see. But she's thinking, yes, I'm a woman, and how women can be less intelligent. You've proven it yourself already. I'm a woman, and how they can say women are less intelligent. Well, the fact that you think you're a woman proves you're less intelligent, you see. Same thing for men, too. A man thinks, I'm a man, he is less intelligent, you see. The same thing. So anyone who thinks, I am woman or I am man, they are less intelligent. When who realizes I'm not male, I'm not female, they're the most intelligent person.
Don't you say,
Huh?
I'm American?
Huh?
Don't you doesn't one say, I'm American or I'm Latvian?
It's complete ignorance.
Lithuanian?
It means they're practically like animals. They're practically like animals. They're not even human beings. Someone who identifies with their body is not even a human being. They're in the animal platform. Even in our movements, there's some bodily consciousness. It means they're kanishtas. They're not very advanced devotees at all. They may appear to be very big, this and that. Yeah.
Is there any danger in maybe, like for instance, maybe a neophyte devotee going around thinking, I'm advanced, but I'm a spirit soul, so we're all equal. For instance, like some Matajis may feel, well, we're all spirit souls, so the difference between male and female doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it could be a danger. Even though it's true, Pandita Samadarshinaha, and one should see that we're all the same, they're not different. But at the same time, we have to make that distinction because we are still contaminated by the modes of nature. You see, some brahmachari may say, well, actually, me and the Matajis were all the same. We're all spirit souls. So I think I'll sleep in the Brahmacharya ashram tonight. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't cut it. Because we still think that because we're still conditioned by the material nature, he'll fall down into do some nonsense if he tries to go to the Brahmacharya ashram, you see. So, even though it's true, we understand it, but we're not fully on the liberated platform yet. Now, fully liberated soul, no problem. He can, just like if you read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can read about Ramananda Roy. He was massaging women, the dancing girls. He was personally massaging their bodies, because you can imagine. Ramananda Roy. And he was fully liberated soul. And we can't imitate these things. If we do that, we'll be carried away by lusty desires. But so the point is that because we're still contaminated with the modes of nature, we have to make some rule. Okay, here's the men's ashram over here, here's the women's ashram over here. And we have certain rules of non-association between, or minimized, not completely non. We get together for discussions like this. And we talk together as family members in such gatherings as we're having now. But as far as sitting around and just becoming buddy-buddy, between male and female, we only do that with our spouse. You see, we don't do it. I can sit with my wife and talk about her, her childhood or something, but I couldn't do that with you. You see, sit on this, tell me about your childhood. I mean, it's too intimate. You see. So, we have these rules are there to help us stay and not carried away and lose our transcendental consciousness. The Varnashram system is a safety net for one who falls from the transcendental platform. This Varnashram system, just like I went to the the circus when I was a kid down in Houston. And I was amazed to see the tightrope walker up there walking across the tightrope. But there was a net just in case he fell, so he wouldn't be killed, you see. Safety net under the tightrope. So pure bhakti is like a tightrope. If you can pull it off, you're great, but if you slip, there's a net. So we have the Varnashram system is to catch us if we slip. You see, it's a protective thing. The net is, he's not supposed to be in the net, he's supposed to be up on the rope, but just in case there's a net to save him. So we're supposed to be completely liberated souls beyond this male-female thing. Because we still have certain varying degrees of tinges of lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy. Therefore we have the Varnashram system, where we separate men and women, you see, to protect us from being completely degraded to the animal platform. So we can stay pure, we can stay clean, and gradually reach that point where we can, we're completely, absolutely, totally beyond it, like Shukadev. The classic example, of course, is in the Bhāgavatam of Shukadev Goswami. He was a completely naked young boy. He came out of his mother's womb at the age of around 14, and he didn't want to get entangled in family life, so immediately headed out. He immediately renounced home life and he became a wandering sadhu. He effectively ran out of the house. And his father, Vyasadeva, is running after him. My dear boy, please come home. He's running. His father's trying to catch him. And they run. In India, there's still a system in some places. The women, they call it skinny dipping here. They bathe naked in the river. So the women were bathing naked. And a bunch of women were bathing naked in the river, and Shukadeva Goswami comes running by. He's also naked. But they could see he was just like a little baby, you see. He's not like an adult who's gone through puberty or, who has some male hormones that are activated and all that kind of stuff. He's like in the mood of like a little baby, And they didn't bother. Oh, there's a liberated soul going by. But then his father came. And they immediately covered up because he was a householder. Prabhupada says a householder has to make distinction between male and female, otherwise how you can be a householder? So that's a good example. Shukadeva Goswami, he had no consciousness of male and female. totally liberated soul. He was going naked. He was naked in front of naked women. And it didn't faze him at all, it didn't faze them at all. But Srila Vyasadeva was also a pure devotee, but he's acting in the capacity of a householder, therefore, according to Varnashram principles, therefore they immediately covered up. Oh, here comes a man, you got to cover up, you see. So, we're not on the level yet of Shukadeva, but we have to follow the example of Srila Vyasadeva and follow the rules of Varnashram to keep ourselves from becoming degraded to animals so we can advance to the level gradually we can reach the Shukadeva's position. Where Prabhupada said, I can be in a whole room full of naked women and not be disturbed, you see. We're not on that level yet. So we have to follow these principles of separation, of chastity, so we can gradually come to that stage. Does that make it clear? Yeah?
Can I make a point here?
Sure, oh absolutely, we'd love to hear it.
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the sage of virtue sees the Brahmana, a man with great wisdom, he sees everyone is equal. A cow, an ass, or a dog.
Pandita Samadarshana, that verse?
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
He says that, but to associate, I don't think so he's going to go and give a hug to a dog or a dog eater. Because even though, or a tiger, he sees everyone equal with,
Yeah.
the result is different. So they do not go and embrace or go and associate.
Okay.
So like a non-devotee, if we associate with a non-devotee, you will get a different result. When you associate with a devotee and non-devotee, you get different results.
Mm-hmm.
So same way in all circumstances, with a man, woman, they are equal, but the result will be different.
Absolutely, very good point. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Thank you all very much, and thank the audience out there in internet land. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai.